Well, there's a formal definition for media literacy, which is that media literacy is the ability to access, analyze, evaluate, and create media in all of its forms, whether it's the print or whether it's the video or the internet. And I think we could extend the definition of media literacy to also say that media literacy really helps us understand the role and our relationship to media in society. And that's a really important skill for citizenship and for being a wise consumer, as well as a responsible producer. So the first question is, who sent this message? Knowing who the author is, knowing what's behind making a message, and the fact that messages are made by someone who makes choices about the message. And then the second question is, what techniques are used to attract my attention? And knowing about the arts and how the arts contribute to attractiveness of media, and that's why we're so interested. And media certainly is a beautiful thing, as well as sometimes perhaps a dangerous thing. So again, we have to really learn to understand those techniques and the power that they have over us. The third question is, how might other people understand this message differently from me? Because we know that different people will always understand a movie differently, for example. And at the same time, audiences are also targeted by advertisers because advertisers know that different people understand messages differently. The fourth question is, what values, lifestyles, and points of view are represented in or omitted from this message? And there we're really looking at the value system that a media producer is projecting out to us. And again, we have to make our decisions about what we want to accept or what we don't want to accept. And also we have to recognize that many points of view are left out. And so there really isn't any media message that is ever objective. There always is a point of view, even though the author and the producer may try to represent different viewpoints. There will always be someone left out. And then the fifth question is, why was this message sent? And we have what's called a core concept behind that question that says all media messages are organized to gain profit and or power. And we use power in its broadest sense of influence over someone's thinking. And again, there's nothing wrong with profit, there's nothing wrong with power. It depends on our own understanding of it and how it's used.
The problem is our educational system is flawed. That's the problem. We continue to turn out teachers every year that are clueless about their racism, their sexism, their ableism, their classism, their homophobia. Clueless about it because we have not immersed our children in an educational system or educational process where they are learning about respect of differences. That's the largest problem that we're having here. And so the manufacturers of these games, the people who are making these films, if they're not understanding how complicit they are in advancing problematic isms like racism and all that, then what would make them change? They're not going to wake up and have some epiphany. It's all a part of our educational system.
I think that, as in most issues in humanity, we're all human beings. We're all living here together. We're all trying to do this thing called life and try to make sense of it. So the more we work together as opposed to at odds with each other, I think the quicker we're going to come to solutions, the more easily we're going to understand issues or patterns and be able to correct them so that it's healthier for everyone. I think whenever we segregate and make it a black issue or a brown issue or an Indian issue or a women's issue, then we're not working together. So we're not using the best of what we have, and we're not putting all of the brains to work on it so that it'll get solved or get taken to the next level. to benefit everybody?
Well, I think that the junk values she's talking about is an emphasis on materialism, getting things, and also an emphasis, the junk values on eating food that's not nutritional, that's high caloric, high fat, that leads to obesity. So they're actually teaching values around eating food and what kind of food you should eat, as well as trying to sell them things frequently that they don't need, and making them feel that part of being somebody or feeling good is to buy these items. So she feels that's the wrong emphasis in terms, we feel it's the wrong emphasis in terms of what you're trying to teach children about values, interactions with other people. Many of them end up judging other people by what they have, what clothes they wear, what kind of designer labels. This is an enormous problem among teenagers, but also begins in the elementary school grades in terms of clothes and sneakers. And we feel that much of this comes from really pumped up kind of advertising and targeting of children in all kinds of ways by the media to sell them things.
We are participators. We are contributors. We're not just passive viewers. We can really do a lot to put out the kind of media messages that we want to see.